Meeting to order. First item is to approve the agenda. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Krista. All right. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Second item is to approve the February 17th, 2022 minutes from a planning commission meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Cindy. A second?
I will second.
All right, Krista. Thank you. I assume no discussion?
No, you have to ask if there's discussion.
This is on the list. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, opposed? None? All right, motion carries. All right, here we go. Introductions. Go ahead.
Thanks. First, I put 2021 on my slides, so I flashed us back a year. I'm really sorry. It's 2022. I know someone is going to notice it throughout the evening, so I just want to say I noticed it. So we have two introductions tonight. The first is new commissioner, Daniel Velick. So he is the second alternate at this point, so if any of the 5 voting members are gone, we'll go Phil, then we'll go Daniel for a voting member. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us where you live.
Sure. Daniel Velick. I live at 1222 Maple Lane, so that is in the Oak Tree edition. I've been here since 2020, I think is when we completed our house. And I work for a startup credit card company, and so I live and am in our house all the time. And here in Carver.
Great. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, good to have you.
So Daniel and I met last week. We just did a planning 101, but I'm really excited to have him join the group and look forward to everyone getting to know each other as we start to be in person more, which is great.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And then the second introduction, I don't know if many of you know this because we've been on Zoom so long about my growing profile, but I'm expecting a baby relatively soon. So Harry Davis is a consultant with Bolton and Menk who will be running the planning commission meetings while I'm on leave. If your mic's not bright green, I'll have you press the button. Is it?
It is
It's
bright.
on.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
here we
So
go.
Harry, do you mind introducing yourself quick?
Yeah, can do. Yeah, so my name is Harry Davis. I'm a planner with Bolton & Mank. I've been doing planning services, interim planning services. I've worked for a multitude of different cities, both directly for and as a consultant. A lot of my work has been spread across the Midwest, from Indiana to the northern part of Arkansas, which I'm going to say is the Midwest.
Oh, wow.
And then
That's a stretch.
yeah, I know. It was very Midwestern there, though. I promise. But yeah, so recently moved to Minnesota with my wife, and we're in a house in Minneapolis. So very happy to be here.
So meetings will continue the same. Brenda will still be sending out agendas. You'll still be RSVPing to her, but information will be coming from Harry with presentations. He'll be at all the meetings.
Excellent.
So be nice to him, please. I know you all will.
As always.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome. Next on the agenda is the public hearing for the Next Steps Learning Center, preliminary plat, rezoning, and final plat. Erin.
Thank you. Alrighty, members of the commission. The most recent time that you saw the Next Steps project was on December 16th. City Council reviewed it January 3rd. So it's back now for several planning steps, which is not typical for a residential neighborhood, but for commercial projects it is pretty common sense. Once you know where a building is going to be and how it's going to connect, it typically does not change. So at this point, staff has worked through preliminary and final plat and feel like we're at a spot where we know that information to a point where we can move forward with both approvals simultaneously. So let's back up a little bit, talk about the site, talk about where we're located. So we're right at the corner of Jonathan Carver Parkway and Highway 212. The project is referred to as Carver Commons pretty frequently. So the Quick Trip is the first user, which is this site here. There's 2 accesses off Monroe Drive. There's the slip right and then the full access a little bit farther west. The second lot that you see west of the Quick Trip is an outlot, and Next Steps is slated to sit generally northwest of that site. So outlined in yellow here. You'll notice that there are not streets to the site right now. There will be with construction of the building, obviously. The streets in Carver Commons are a little bit different because they are private. The city does not maintain them. So things like snow removal, asphalt repair is completed by what we can compare to like a commercial HOA. So not something that the city will take on for responsibility. We do hold easement over those streets for things like sewer and water. So as part of our system, part of a loop in case something happens, we are able to access that system. So general location, northwest of the Quick Trip. So imposing where the Quick Trip is with next steps. So you can see the Quick Trip building is here, the Gap Bay, generally again, northwest here. So next steps is slated to construct a 16,299 square foot building, 4 outdoor play spaces, the parking lot, as well as access into the site. So all in all, a pretty large commercial project that's coming into Carver Commons. So again, tonight we're doing a 3-step process. So preliminary plat, rezoning, and final plat. I will talk through the rezoning request. It feels like it's kind of nuanced, just that it's one item that we'll be talking through. So the site right now is zoned freeway commercial. This project meets that requirement. So it is a listed use that is applicable for this location, but there is a deviation from that code that we're requesting tonight, hence why it needs the rezoning. So the site works in general, but we need that planned commercial development, or the PCD overlay, to allow from that one deviation from the city code. Park dedication is still required since it's a platting process. It's a different formula than residential. So when I'm talking residential, I often throw around that 4,070 number per unit. For commercial, it's $3,030 per acre, so it's a little bit different of a formula, but still required different formula that will come in with the developer's agreement. So let's talk some site details, talk about the layout. So a little bit clearer view. So thinking about the site here, west is Meridian Fields. This is that corner outlet. So there is some natural buffering between Meridian Fields already with that outlet for the pond. You'll see on the screen now there's landscaping throughout the project as well. So through the parking lot, there's an updated landscaping plan we'll talk through in a couple minutes. But generally access to the site is south, moving into their parking lot, which then accesses the full building. Here you can also see the 4 play areas that are outside. So an interior view of what the building will look like. So it's slated to have 189 children in the facility, 0 to school age. Hours are 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. No weekend hours. So I think if you were to ask a residential neighbor what type of commercial user you might want, it might be this one, since it's quiet on the weekends and quiet in the evening. So something to think about is just the layout. Commissioner Monroe asked some questions at the previous meeting about why the building was different elevations, why it was 2-story. So the sport court in the center, which is 1,800 square feet, which I'm sure gets pretty rowdy when there's a lot of children in there, but probably a ton of fun. So the general layout, infant rooms through pre-K and kindergarten. Rendering of the building, so you'll start to get a feel of what the building will look like with sample materials on the screen now. So largely LP siding, which meets our ordinance as well. In my personal opinion, I think a really good looking building that will complement the site. So this will be the southwest corner of the building. So essentially the view that we're looking at is from that pond. So a general view of what Meridian Fields will see out their back door looking towards the building. So talking through that PCD requirement, why do we need it when the project meets the intent of the Freeway Commercial District? So the PCD is required for an 11-foot deviation from the city code. The city code calls for 100 feet from a residential property, Meridian Fields, and they're requesting a deviation of 11 feet to 89 for the distance from the southwest corner of the building to Meridian Fields. Again, runs that buffer of the outlet with the pond, but just that 11-foot deviation, which will write into a PCD. So a couple changes from the concept plan that I want to highlight. The first is the concept plan, we hadn't flushed through what a trail might look like on this site, but we found it to be important for the user, being a daycare with the amount of homes that are going in, that people could use, hopefully, alternate transportation besides a vehicle if they wanted to get there. So from Monroe Drive, there will be a trail on the westerlymost access up that outlet and then into the next step sites, which then hooks into their sidewalk here. So will allow for people to walk into the site, which I think will be a great benefit for users of the site. The second change is related to some landscaping. So this landscaping plan looks a little bit different. You'll also see in the area that's circled in yellow that there's a 3 to 5 foot berm that's been added. So adding some additional buffering to that location where it will be closest to Meridian Fields. So that 89 feet again has the pond outlet, but also now a berm of 3 to 5 feet, additionally with trees on top. So adding a nice buffer that we believe will take some of the views away from Meridian Fields, so it can be both screened for noise as well as view. So again, there's some views of the exterior of the building with the back. Not a ton of heavy lighting on the back. There are a couple of security lights, but not to the point where we're concerned about light spilling into the residential neighborhood. So a public hearing is required tonight for the project. A mailer was sent to all properties within 350 feet of the entire site. So it's not just where the building is, it's every exterior property line. So that was 34 homes, primarily Meridian Fields neighborhood, obviously since they're directly adjacent. To date, staff has not received any written comments, but you'll take public comment for anyone in the room tonight. Again, requests the rezoning, the deviation from 100 feet to 89 on the rear lot corner, preliminary plat, and final plat. So all three tonight. So I'll open it up for questions, and then we can move through the public hearing as well.
Sure. So the correct order is we do the rezoning, then the preliminary plat, and the final plat. Do we need, obviously, we need to vote on the zoning. Do we need to vote on the preliminary and final plat individually as well?
Yes, please.
Okay, no problem.
Also, I'll mention the developers here if you have questions
Excellent.
specific to
Yes.
next steps.
Okay. Anyone else have questions? Go ahead, Krista.
So as we get more commercial buildings, I'm assuming this meets our sign ordinance also?
So they'll be required to apply for a sign permit when it comes in, but generally, yes.
Okay. All right. No, that's it. Okay. I guess the next step is we need to open the public hearing, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Let's see. We do not need a motion to open it, right?
You don't.
That's what I was checking. All right. We'll now open the public hearing. If anyone, those wishing to address the planning commission should come forward, state their name and address for the record. After comments are received, the public hearing will be closed. No further comments on the issue will be received after this meeting. And in general, do not expect commissioners to answer back and forth. We will happily write your questions down and try to address those as best we can at the end, just to keep the meeting moving. So do we have anyone in the public that would like to speak?
Sorry,
Go
you're
ahead,
the one
yes.
person
I
we're all
see.
staring at you.
Oh, the person I didn't recognize. Feel free. Absolutely. Come on up.
And I'll have you turn on that microphone.
Yep, there should be a little red,
Perfect.
green light.
Perfect. There we go.
Say your name and address.
My name's Steve Jacobson. I'm 1901 Meridian Curve.
Hello, Steve. Go ahead.
Hi. Very happy that there's a daycare going in, so I'll just lay that out there. But with the increase in pedestrian traffic that's going to be coming through, is there going to be any plans to maybe increase the visibility of the crosswalk that's crossing Monroe? As of right now, there is that secondary crosswalk that's just west of Carver Parkway. And the speed limit on there is 40, I believe, is what it's going to end up being as the development continues to go west. But there's going to be a lot of cars driving through. And if it's expected that individuals would be walking their children to this said daycare, it's very easy to just fly right through that crosswalk. So just wanted to bring that up and ask that, if possible, to increase, whether it's a flashing light sign or something to, I guess, identify that there's going to be people walking through.
Excellent. Good suggestion.
That's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Aaron, do you have any strong
Do we have-
feelings about that?
So the question was at the crossing at Monroe Drive. Did I understand that correctly?
No,
No, so there's the crossing into Ironwood Park a little bit further west.
Do you have a picture of it?
the entrance to Quick Trip.
quick trip, right? There's like a dotted.
I just want to make sure I have it right.
Yeah.
No.
It's the main crossing of Monroe Drive at the main entrance to the development, correct?
Yes, so it's the,
Western.
not the slip right, it's the
Mhm.
full intersection.
Yeah. So we recently put up signage at that location. I think it was last year. There's standard pedestrian indication signage at that location. That met all guidance for the anticipated pedestrian
Exactly.
crossing numbers at that time.
It's right here.
So,
right
yep,
there.
right there.
Okay.
So there is signage on Monroe Drive right now. It's the standard, pedestrian indication sign. An enhanced sign wouldn't be warranted by like the numbers. So that's why we went with the standard signage when it was installed last year, so.
Sure. Well, I understand.
Yeah.
And I guess my question really is, that's as of today, right?
Sure.
I mean, there's gonna be 300 and some more houses just west of there. There's going to be a lot more traffic coming through. So just, I guess, just wanted to plant the bug as, I've walked across that crosswalk and I've almost been hit by cars going
Yeah.
through that crosswalk. So it would be nice to have, I don't know, something saying that, or something indicating more.
Flashy light,
Mm-hmm.
something. Gotcha.
I don't know, whatever that may look like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well
Thank you.
received.
Is there a road that goes south right there?
No, there's a,
There's
it's
going to
the
be
park
one
trail.
west of
Yeah.
there a little bit more?
Okay. But as this gets bigger and develops, is there gonna be a light ever at that location?
Likely no,
Likely
No.
but definitely something we can keep in mind as development
Yeah,
continues.
for sure.
That maybe it's a flashing light in the future or an additional street light that might go there too.
Yep. Yeah, it could be enhanced, someday. It's a very good point.
That's a very good
And,
observation.
ultimately Monroe Drive is a road that's gonna go all the way to County Road 43. So, over the course of time, a lot of things will have to change. So I think it suits the needs for today, but definitely something to always keep in mind as the city continues to grow. So very good point.
Thank you. It looks like we have another person on Zoom that wants to comment. I don't recognize that. Is that John? John, are you wishing to have a public comment at the hearing?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, yes, my name is John Muro. I live at 1905 Meridian Curve. I had a couple questions about the ask for the deviation in the setback. If the code is for 100 feet, why the ask is to change that to 89? Is there a reason from the developer for that? And if so, is that common practice? Are there other buildings within Carver that have asked for this type of deviation before?
Jeremy, do you want to join us?
Excellent.
And I'll
Thank
start
you.
tackling?
Yeah, if you want to start, yeah.
Sure. So the main driver behind the deviation is for general site layout. So United Properties, the owner of the entire site, is hoping to preserve Outlot B as a buildable location for a commercial user. So this building needed to sit a little bit further west to allow Outlot B to be large enough for a user. We don't have an end user for that site yet, but that's the general intent, is to be able to use that as a marketable lot, since it's a little different coming up with that street, the full access in. So unless you know something different, that's my
No,
understanding of
and
it.
yeah, that's correct. And when we design the site, it's really only the one corner that gets close. The rest of the building sits quite a bit farther off. And so we were trying to be conscious of the fact that this lot doesn't work for the developer to stay big enough to the east without us getting a little bit closer to the west.
And in general, John, there's a residential version of a PCD, a PRD, which we run through the planning commission pretty often. Most projects in Carver do require some deviation from our city code.
Yeah, and so John, to add to that as well, so I know we talked a little bit about the landscaping plan, but one of the things that we are going to do is we are going to berm the backside and put evergreens on that back to really buffer it from that neighborhood for everywhere where it gets close. We're even adding more trees on the northwest corner as well. So we should buffer it pretty well from what the neighbors will see. And like Aaron mentioned, we don't really light the backs of our buildings, and there's lights above the doors in the playground, but they're very low illumination. So from a visibility standpoint, I think we're going to protect it as much as we can.
Appreciate it, thank you.
If this lot would actually be rectangle or square, would there be that setback requirement?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay.
That pond, yeah, plays into it for sure, that it's a curved property line.
Go ahead, come back up if you'd like.
Can I ask, it's on the same topic.
Do you mind coming
Yeah,
up to the
come back up
microphone
so
just so
we
we
can
can
get you
capture
online.
you?
I'm just going to share with you.
Yeah.
Sounds fun. So that is
Steve
me
back
on the bottom
again.
corner there. That's my house.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So my question is, the landscaping design is so that the berm would stop basically at the building. Is there any way to continue that down further so that it covers the real corner at the edge there?
Yeah, what you're seeing from this is you're seeing the trees that are circled.
Yep.
Those are evergreens. The
Okay.
berm does extend a little bit closer to that playground
Okay.
of how we have it planned, so it'll stagger down and protect some of that corner.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I guess that was my other biggest concern. The 89 feet to 100 feet, that doesn't concern me as much because of the pond, but, having that extra 3 to 5 feet on top, plus the evergreens and trees and things like that would be very beneficial, so.
Yeah,
making sure that stretches down a little bit further than I guess what's pictured would be
Yeah.
very helpful.
We have plenty of dirt.
Yeah.
We're trying to give it away.
Okay, yeah.
That's usually a pretty hot offer here. We could probably find somewhere.
Yeah, be careful what you're asking.
There's a lot of it.
There certainly is.
Yeah, so we can definitely do that. We'll adjust it to bring it down closer to that fence line on the playground.
Awesome.
Yep, no
Awesome.
problem.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
And then a clarification, the 100 feet is from an existing residential building, or is that 100 feet from the property line?
Property line.
Property line, okay.
Yep. So if you think about it that way, it's property line, and then the typical
Typical.
rear yard setback is 20 feet.
20 feet,
So
okay.
120 feet typically from a residential
Building.
dwelling.
From the actual building, okay.
Correct.
Assuming that building is at the edge too, right? The
Yes,
building is
absolutely.
shifted. Okay.
So it's property line to property line? Or
Property line to building.
Property line to building,
Got it.
Your rear property line, their
To their
building.
edge
to
of
the building, yeah.
Correct.
It's 89 feet. And it's literally that one corner, right?
It is, yes.
Very excellent. Okay. I guess we'll give maybe a few more minutes if anyone wants to dial in on Zoom or late running up the stairs. So, I don't know.
You're welcome to discuss during that time too.
Sure. Does anyone want
I think you're
to
good.
fill some time while we wait for any more public comments? Or?
What's the
Cindy, go
timeline?
ahead. Oh, go ahead.
So timeline, hoping to bring this project to City Council April 4th. And then I believe next steps, I think in their dream world, start April 5th.
As soon as
With
possible.
opening probably this fall.
10 o'clock.
We do
As
have
soon as the
construction
gavel-
hours, yeah.
Have a
Yeah, so
bulldozer
really eager to
outside.
get the project started.
Excellent.
I guess I did have one quick question too. Do you want me-
Sure.
Yeah.
Come back up. No problem. Yeah.
Floor is mine.
We're killing time. Yeah. Welcome.
As far as construction hours, since this is commercial, but it's right next to residential, is there restrictions on commercial or when the construction hours can be taking place?
So we don't have them differentiated for residential and commercial. I'm trying to think of what they are right now. I think it's 7 to 7.
Yes, I was gonna say. Yeah.
So
7
7 to
to
7.
Got it.
Our typical
And
construction.
that's when 7 is when construction ceases and everyone's got to get out of there?
We hope so. If that's not true, let us know. We'll be happy to take care of it for you.
All right, sounds good.
Monday through Friday or every day?
Monday through Saturday. Sunday has shortened hours, I believe.
So 7 to 7 on Saturdays as well?
Correct.
Got it.
And we've had cases in the past where builders have asked for deviation and usually we warn the neighbors.
Yes, we try to. And then typically if it ever is happening outside of those hours, we ask that you contact the non-emergency line. They're pretty quick to get out there. We also have Bolton and Mank staff on site of our projects throughout the day, just monitoring everything, but definitely something we take seriously. So if it becomes an issue, let us know. Steve, do you have anything else?
No, that's okay. No problem. We're still waiting. But maybe another minute and then call it. Close.
Are there other questions from the commission?
Sure. Did I? Oh, okay. Wow. No, that's fine.
You're not gonna send your kids in. My kids are a little old. They could work there.
Actually,
go ahead.
I have that question. Jeremy, do you anticipate, do you have the number of workers that might be there?
It'll be about 34 to 37.
Perfect.
Actually, I do have a question too, to
Go ahead.
piggyback off of that. Are these workers that you already have, or will we be employing from?
It'll be pretty much all new. We'll have a couple, so we've got,
Yes, please,
Sure.
thank you. Once you go past like one word, it's usually.
Yeah.
Do you mind introducing
Sorry, I
yourself?
should have asked a yes or no question.
yeah, my name is Matt Carver. My wife and I own Next Steps Learning Center. I live in 3697 La Rive Way, Chaska, Minnesota,
318. The question was, how many employees and are they going to be new? The majority of them will be new. There'll be 34 to 37 employees. We have
So
two.
bringing some jobs to town.
Yeah.
We do have two other locations, one in Chanhassen and one in Chaska. We've had a number of people request to help open this location and so forth. So, not all of them will be immediately from the area. A couple of them live in the area already that just would like to
Shorter commute.
have a shorter commute and things like that. So,
Excellent.
But then there obviously will have additional hiring in Chaska and Chanhassen as well.
Great.
So,
Great.
But
Thank you.
So kind of a follow-up to that
ahead,
question
Greg.
real quick was, you have adequate amount of parking, but with the amount of staff that will be utilizing those spaces, and then obviously parents and so forth to come in and pick up kids and so forth. Any concerns with how the layout is or the amount of parking spots and so forth?
Not concerned. Being a daycare, it is primarily 2 times a day where you have a lot of traffic. So certain days, you'd wish there was more. Other days, you wish there were less to snowplow and all that other stuff. But who knows with that trail, and if more people actually utilize that, maybe, I feel we have plenty of spaces.
Okay, great.
I just had a couple questions. So the trail, was that going to be like asphalt or concrete or TBD?
So the width of the trail is 5 feet. I learned this on Tuesday from Aaron.
Okay.
And that's generally tricky to do asphalt just because it's so.
It's an odd size.
Yeah, so we anticipate they're going to work through it at final design. So TBD at this point, but I would say we might be leaning concrete just for that width.
Sure. Don't make narrow asphalt spreaders, apparently.
Yeah, we'll make it, we're obviously gonna make it as wide as we can. We're working through it.
Yeah, it's tricky
Apparently.
with the road and the amount of space
Yeah.
Sure.
on the south side there. It gets a little tight to match up that intersection.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's a great idea, so
Now-
we can, go ahead.
Generally sidewalks are 5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trails are 6 or 8. So we're calling this a trail, but it's only 5 feet.
So we have it slated for 5 right now. We're hoping we can squeeze to 6. So
Yep.
we'll let you know if it's a sidewalk or a trail.
Okay.
It's a pathway.
Yes.
Well, excellent, okay.
Okay, I have a question on the parking
ahead,
too.
Krista.
And I have no experience in this, but when you drop off a kid, do you like drive by and drop them off literally, or do you go in? Because it looks like if you drop them off, they have to walk through all those parking spaces and between cars. I'm assuming you have to pick them up.
yeah, so the age of the children is anywhere from typically, 10 weeks to, 5 years of age. So you're walking them in.
Okay.
And dropping them off at their classroom.
Okay, so no concern having the parking spots closer to the door versus flipping it the other way.
Yep, so typically, how you ideally structure it is have your staff park as far away as possible, leaving the closest spots for
Families
For the
to drop off.
families,
Gotcha.
yep.
Makes sense, okay.
And then, so for the parking lot lighting, everything on the parking lot size, that's all meets code and everything's good there in terms of?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
So with the plan set, they're required to send in a lighting plan, which then shows the foot candle from each light. So the light typically stops at the property line, so
Sure.
not anticipated to even bleed into the Quick Trip site.
excellent. That was it for me. Anyone else?
Well,
Okay.
I noticed some of the the lights they're putting up along Jonathan Carver Parkway now have this big black
The bell.
cone which
Yep.
points the light down and prevents it up. Are they gonna be that type of light?
I don't think we've determined at this point. I don't think they've chosen.
Typically, the T lights that just kind of spread it out, because we don't put overly bright light.
No problem, come on.
So we don't typically put, we don't overlight in the parking lots, but we just put 2 T lights that kind of shine out and down, so they kind of spread out over the parking lots. Because we just do each one of the islands, and then we do light off the front of the building as well. Every 10, 12 feet, there's another light. And I mean, it's probably more than that, 20 feet.
Because I know most of the concern of people who are unhappy with light pollution, especially people in astronomy, is they don't want light going up, and you often see that around cities where there's a glow around the entire. And
Yeah.
I wonder if these new lights on Jonathan Carver Parkway help reduce that.
Yeah, and if I remember right, the ones, and this is a great question, 'cause I don't really look at our lights that close, but I think they have a metal cap that directionally forces them at an angle down and out. They're not like the light up ones like you see on some of the older neighborhoods.
The caveat to the lights on Jonathan Carver Parkway is that they are beautiful, but they're pretty expensive.
Oh, okay.
Well,
County money.
I understand that, but I'm sure there's cheaper versions that you can get.
Same idea. Excellent.
I suspect the lights that they're proposing are similar, just with direction, so
Yeah.
not a concern at this point.
I guess we need a motion to close the public hearing, unless anyone else. We still can ask questions later for the plating if anyone else in the commission has questions, so don't worry.
I'll file a motion to close the public hearing.
Thanks, Greg. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks. Jim, all right. I assume we'll have no discussion on closing the public hearing, so we'll just move to the vote. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Aye? Vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none? Motion carries. All right. So now we're going to have a preliminary plat, right? Do we need to discuss it, or can we just move on to approving it?
I think you can just move on unless you have questions about it.
Do we have any?
I'll motion to recommend approval for preliminary plat.
Thanks, Greg. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we do that first, or we do the rezoning?
We just did, didn't we? Oh, no.
No, you close the public
I
hearing.
closed the public hearing. Oh, do we need to? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Jim is correct.
Yes,
Rezoning
okay.
does go first.
All right. Geez, I lost track of my sheet here. Oh, yes. Yes, we need. Oh, we can do all three at once, or we can do it? Sorry.
Three separate.
Three separate. Okay.
I'll file a motion to recommend for rezoning.
All right. Thanks.
I'll second.
Greg. Thanks. Krista. All right. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, because you had it written wrong on the, sorry. So now we're doing preliminary plat?
That's fine.
That's fine, okay. Now we need a motion to approve the preliminary plat.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat.
Thank you, Cindy. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Greg. No discussion, I assume? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? All right, seeing none, motion carries. Now we're on final plat?
Correct.
All right. Do I have a motion for a final plat?
I'll motion to
Oh.
recommend for final plat.
All right. Greg, do I have a second? You take it, Jim?
I'll second.
All right, thanks, Jim. Okay. No discussion, I assume? All those in favor?
Aye.
No, any opposed? None? All right, motion carries. So we just did all three in about a minute.
Thank you both.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you,
Steve,
everyone.
John. If you have
Thank you.
questions, let me know.
Yeah, welcome to town.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 6 on the agenda, the Parks Commission update. Aaron.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. So starting in 2022, we're changing the Parks Commission approach a little bit. So I wanted to talk through it with this group, talk through your new role, something that we're asking you to pick up, and I have a little bit of homework for you. So the Parks Commission typically has run really similar to the Planning Commission. So it's meetings like this where you have an agenda, you make motions. And to be frank and honest, it took some of the fun and the creativity out of it, I think, to make it feel like it was a meeting that required some bureaucracy. So our goal with the Parks Advisory Group is to crack that open a little bit, open it up to a greater number of residents. So we're moving to less formal meetings. We're going to move to a couple of meetings a year where residents can come in and learn more about the parks. So things like park dedication, park maintenance, how do I get a trail here? Why isn't this trail connected? So hoping to open it up a little bit more to offer to a wider group of people. And then we're hoping to build some community. So we're hoping to get some events going in town. So I don't know if anyone remembers the tree sale that used to happen a couple years ago. We haven't done it for a while, but hoping that this group can maybe spearhead the tree sale again. So again, hoping to get some more participation, get people excited, get people in our parks getting to know each other a little bit more. So the Parks Commission is now the Parks Advisory Group. So your role as a planning commission gets a little bit more intensive with parks. So if a development project comes in with a park, we'll ask you to do some of that formal review, provide feedback on the park. A lot of the work that you're already doing in things like the comp plan and the parks master plan, but just adding more of that role to your formal meetings. So your homework, if you haven't taken a look at the parks master plan, I'd ask you to do that in the next couple months. So take a look. It's on our website. It's one of the plans on there that has a lot of pictures, so it's not a terribly long read. And then if you know someone who might be interested, if they're wanting to get their feet wet to learn more, let me know. Likely we'll start in earnest when I get back from leave, just because I don't want to get people excited and then go really quiet for a while. So likely to start late summer, early fall, hopefully with an event sometime in that period where we can get people into our parks. A good segue into Ironwood, so we'll start construction there this spring. So maybe get people out there to take a look, see what's going on, see how we got there, just because I think it can sometimes be surprising from the city obviously has quite the process, but for a resident, it might just seem like, oh, that just started, right? So hoping to get some more information to more people through the Parks Advisory Group. So mostly an FYI, but if you have some time, if you're up in the middle of the night ever, the Parks Master Plan, I think is kind of a fun read of all the things that you have to read compared to like the zoning code. It does, it has a lot of pictures. So take a look at that and then let me know, share that information with people you know. There's information on the website if anyone's interested.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How does the park commission feel about are they dissolved then?
Let's think of a friendlier word. They're invited to join us on the Parks Advisory
Dissolved doesn't
Group.
have a bad connotation.
Okay.
It's a descriptor.
Yes, the Parks Commission is formally dissolved. I'm hopeful and expecting several of them to join us in this new group.
Okay, good.
So hoping to break down some of the barriers that it took to get some projects through. So
Okay.
a lovely group of people. I hope we all can spend some time together in a park sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So they get the fun idea stuff and we have to do all the work of variances. No, that's fine.
No,
we have
parks-
to do it anyway.
parks
Well,
are
no,
always
I think
fun.
It's a good idea. I think it's a good idea, right? Because half the time, and we're like, oh, there's a park. Do we get it? Oh no. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
You're right, that'll be the fun part.
That'll be the fun part for us. We get, hey, a park.
Wasn't the meeting last time the fun part?
It was very fun.
Fun, yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess maybe I'll ask my summary. So the idea is they more informal, come up with ideas, and then once the idea is solidified, then it would come to the planning commission for more detailed, like zoning and plotting and that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Excellent. Okay.
Yep.
Makes sense to me. Anyone else have questions or?
How long does master park plan go out for?
So it runs concurrently with the 2040 comp plan, but the Parks Master Plan, I think, calls for review and update every 2 years.
Okay.
Which
So
means
that would be
it's
part
like-
of our process also?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a super heavy lift, just because it's such a new plan at this point. Maybe in 4 years it might be more substantial, but we'll ease in together.
Cool. Yeah, Greg, anyone else? Jim, questions? No? Okay. No, I'm looking forward. That'd be kind of that's something to look forward to for the.
I think the tree sale sounded. I
Yeah,
haven't
no, that's
participated
good.
in that yet, but it seemed like it was a really great event that people really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for over 30 years. We had the tree sale every year for at least 2 decades. And people planted all the trees in my first property. I planted them.
From
And you should
Pisa.
see them now.
Yeah, that's very cool.
What
Yeah,
is
I mean,
the
it was,
tree
it was
sale?
fun. I mean,
Yeah, they had the parks. Can you?
and the city council had to work handing them out.
Oh,
So that was fun too.
What was really fun was that,
That's right. There were some really good cinnamon rolls.
all right.
yeah,
But now we have Quick
Courtney
Trip.
made great
Yeah, the
cinnamon
Quick Trip,
rolls.
there you go.
That's how she got us to show up.
Yeah.
that's how she became mayor.
That's right.
It's bacon. Oh, but Krista, you have.
Yeah, what is the tree sale?
Yeah.
Oh, every spring, we would sell trees to people in Carver.
Oh, okay.
You know, they would sign up. I think at first it was on, paper form. Might have gone to computer, I don't remember. And then on a certain Saturday or weekend, it was just a Saturday, one day, like.
It always rained, it was always cold.
Yeah, it was raining,
Yeah,
it was cold,
cool.
but all the trees would be delivered to community park parking lot.
Okay.
And then the city council would be up there and help people load them
And,
up,
very
and they
cool.
would take them home and plant them in their yards.
And I believe there was a discount, that it was like a bulk buy. for the
Yes, it
city.
was.
Oh, yeah,
It was
okay.
much better than going to a nursery
Nursery, oh, excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
and buying it.
But like it was a tree, it wasn't like
No, no,
No,
no, they
actual,
were
like,
Well, they were
evergreen that you get.
probably, I don't know, four feet.
anywhere from 4 to
Oh, okay.
7, 8 feet, depending on what kind of tree it
tree,
was.
yeah, so, serious trees. Not the little seedling that you
Yeah,
get from.
no.
That's what I was thinking, like a little
Actual, yeah.
Dixie cup.
Yeah,
Well, that sounds cool.
Some you couldn't put in.
Oh, sure, yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. Oh, that's cool. That'd
So,
be nice.
hoping to bring that back. I think
Yeah,
Cool.
I think
people
that'd
would be
be great.
excited.
And for timing, you said when you return from maternity leave. So what month-ish is that?
August.
So next, not this spring, next.
I think this ship has sailed on this spring.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
Any other questions about park stuff?
Yeah, any,
Okay, great.
all right. Next item, number 7, selection of chair and vice chair for 2022.
Thank you. I'll just talk through it really quick.
Sure, go ahead.
So it runs through March 2023, which is when we do the appointments. So if there's a spot open, the interviews are usually in March. So run the meeting, staff helps. Brenda puts together a great action agenda. The biggest perk is maybe you get to talk to me on the third Thursday of every month just to check in.
Yeah.
See if you have questions, but
It's definitely worth it.
largely a pretty easy job where staff helps out quite a bit.
We take the nomination.
Yeah, I'd happy to
Yeah.
go again if anyone else has a dying need for.
Well, I was gonna nominate Cindy Monroe.
Okay.
I'd be delighted.
I've heard you've had some experience.
I've had a meeting or two.
I second that. Do we vote on that?
Yeah, let's vote on it.
Okay, sure.
You okay with that, Reed?
I'll whatever. I do it again. So if you
I think I'll take a shot.
you want to take, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna
go
take a
for
shot at it.
Yeah, go for it.
See if I remember how to do it.
Yeah, no, it sounds good to me. Any other discussion? All right, let's have a vote. All those in favor of Cindy Monroe as Planning Commission Chair? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. All right, congratulations.
How
I'll
about
take Vice Chair
Sorry.
unless
You can have
Krista
it.
or
No.
Craig. Okay.
You're not interested? Anybody else?
It's
On
fine.
that-
I like it. Go ahead.
All right, in that case,
All right.
I'll nominate Reed as vice chair.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Krista. I'll go with Krista. All right. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, no, I had fun.
Being
Yeah.
the chair.
That's good. I mean, I could just call you, just talk.
Absolutely. Anyone can call me any Thursday they want.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Next,
Oh.
go ahead. Welcome, Madam Mayor.
Hi, I don't want to jump in too early,
Oh, no,
but I
fine,
thought
go ahead.
we're on communications.
We're
Yes,
having-
you are.
We are now.
Jump in.
And I just wanted to, I am filling in tonight for Councilmember Henry,
Okay.
but I'm also crossing off the one meeting a year that I at least like to attend, as you guys all know.
That's kind of like a twofer.
Yeah.
It is really early, and I completely expect to forget by November. So
Oh, come on
I know
again.
I always like to try to make it to at least one of the commission meetings a year, just to say hey and to provide updates and to thank you guys all for volunteering for the city of Carver. But I generally think about it like November, second week of November, and then when there aren't meetings, it can get tough. So here I am. I am very early. I just wanted to give you guys a couple of updates, if you don't mind. We learned on Monday that the city of Carver is going to be getting $2.5 million for our certified levy project.
cool.
That's huge. That's federal money that comes from the omnibus bill that was signed a week ago tomorrow.
Nice.
We just learned about it on Monday. I have more questions than I have answers at this point as far as timing and what aspects of the project we can use it for and all that kind of stuff, but stay tuned. That is a solid chunk of money, like full stop. But we still are looking at a $12 million project. So we're kind of chipping away at this project. I met with Representative Nash on Monday before hearing this news. And then I have a call tomorrow morning with Senator Coleman, and we're still working towards getting some bonding money from the state of Minnesota. You may know that every other year in the state of Minnesota is a bonding year, and then, so it's even years that it's bonding, and then odd that it's a budget year. We are in a bonding year. And hopefully the remaining $10 million would come in the form of a grant from the state of Minnesota. So fingers crossed. I have some really great letters from the likes of Cindy Monroe and other folks who have lived or currently own property downtown or previously served on city council that is serving as a really nice packet of stuff when I'm trying to lobby our elected officials to get this money. So update about that. Second, and I wanted to draw attention and give a big shout out to Vicki Sanziden and Brenda Good. I don't know if you guys saw it, but at tonight's meeting, when John spoke over the Zoom and we were able to hear him, you might not be aware, but that's a big deal. We worked really, really hard to make that happen. So when we could hear him, I was like...
I was holding my breath. I'm so glad it worked.
It was like the Cheshire Cat. Like, I'm so happy. That took a lot of work. So I'm going to use that to dovetail. We can now have members of the public participate from their homes or from wherever they are. And we can potentially see them. We can definitely hear them. And that's great. And that's a huge step in figuring out the technology. Wasn't the easiest thing to do. But here we are, and we've got it figured out. And it's so, so great. And that was the first time I've seen that. We didn't have anybody... The technology was working at our last council meeting, but we didn't have anybody on the Zoom to participate. So super cool to see that. That also kind of dovetails into, while that's great for members of our community and members of the public and me at your meetings and you at my meetings, it does not apply to us as commissioners or as council meetings or as council members. The way the open meeting law in the state of Minnesota now sits, we all have to be right here unless there's some kind of global pandemic or other reason why we can't be here. We can participate remotely, but we have to either be in a public place that has to be published along with the meeting agenda, or if it's not a public place, so you are ill and are staying at home, you have to be willing that if there's a member of the public that wants to come into your home or hospital room, you have to let them in. So that's one of our legislative priorities that we shared with Representative Nash and Senator Coleman, is trying to ease up those open meeting laws a little bit because it's 2022. And we've had examples at the council level where we've had, we're post-pandemic. We had a council member who wasn't feeling that great, and they did the right thing. They stayed home, right? So as to not infect the rest of us. This is Council Member Mock, who literally lives across the street, and while she was well enough to, listen in on the live stream, she couldn't participate in the meeting because she did the right thing. So hopefully we can work with our state legislators and get some leniency as far as the open meeting law to make it more flexible, because it's 2022 after all, and we should be able to participate from wherever we are. But that's all I had.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Nash and Coleman are no longer our state legislators.
Actually, they are through the end of the year. They will not be next year. So we were redistricted, and I haven't heard that anybody's pushing it to the Supreme Court. So next year we will be in a new district, which is 17. So we'll be in the Senate District 17, and we'll be in the House District 17B. And these are brand new districts. So Senator Coleman and Representative Nash they won't be our folks anymore. And these will be kind of newly drawn districts where we'll have the opportunity to do or to be represented by some other folks. It's, I'm looking at it in terms of, the lens that I look at everything through St. Paul is, can they give us some money for our levy? And I look at it as, we'll have the opportunity to have more folks on our side if and when, and hopefully it won't come to this if we don't get the money this year. Both Senator Coleman and Representative Nash had said that they will continue to champion this project for us. Again, I hope it doesn't go beyond this year, But I've always said when talking about that project that it's a marathon and not a sprint, and here we are.
Yeah, I think, okay.
When we build a new levee, does that mean we'll take away the requirement that the mayor has to know how to sandbag?
Yes, that's the only reason why I'm trying to do this. No, but again, thank you guys for everything you do. I appreciate you volunteering. As the days get longer and the weather gets warmer, it gets harder to be in a room like this on evenings, but I appreciate what you do for our community, so thank you.
Yeah,
That's all I had.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
I was gonna say on the, just right, I mean, the good news is Carver's getting big enough where we don't necessarily, right, population-wise, we're big enough where we need more represent, right? The cities around us grew, right, so theoretically, the represent, right, your representative per person, I don't know where we want to go, right, got big enough if, and maybe not, maybe the optimistic view.
Yeah, that's,
So
I think there
Carver
are-
got bigger and,
yeah, depending on your point of view, I think that there are both benefits and drawbacks
Sure.
to that. We will be the largest city
Yeah, so I was just
in
gonna
this
mention, okay.
17B
That's what I thought, okay.
House district,
Sure.
which hopefully that gets us something.
Yeah. Go ahead.
One change.
Sibley and McLeod, parts
Yeah, I
of
was gonna say,
Sibley
it was
County
like,
and McLeod,
pretty-
or parts of McLeod and Sibley County. It's a real.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, literally like
They did.
Chask is in the existing one, and then Carver is like south and west to.
Yeah, it's a real
And then 17
north-south, but it's
Kinda
wonky.
odd. Yeah, like Hutchinson is the other one in 17th.
Yeah.
And you say Jerry. Well, oh, that.
Just
Well.
to note that the county has to also redistrict. And they have an option now to go.
Oh, for
To
commissioner.
go 5 or 6 commissioners.
Oh, okay.
I think they're probably gonna stay at 5, but
And I think we're going to see those maps the end of next month, April 20. I've got it on my phone. It's April
Interesting.
26th, I think, if that's a.
but they will be holding hearings, I think, in April.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we could have the opportunity to have all new folks representing us. Representative Emmer, Congressman Emmer, will still be. We're still in the 5th district, so we're still in his district. But we have the opportunity to have, what, 3/4 new representation? So we'll see how that comes at the county level.
Cool. Anybody else have questions for the mayor while we got her on the spot? Yeah, any of the, you guys got anything, say hi? Nothing? Hello?
My vacation is next week, so I'll report back on how Southwest Transit works. I'm super excited. I already got my ride booked.
Oh, for the airport? Yeah, I'd like to know how it works.
It's $8. It's super deep.
It's 5, isn't it? And then
Might be.
the city does 5? Or
Yeah.
maybe it's the airport. Maybe I'm thinking.
Oh, the prime.
It's $5 or $8 a person. They're gonna pick me up at the curb and take me to the airport.
Do you leave at like 4 a.m.?
Well, they're gonna get me there early enough that my dad would be proud. And I used to travel a lot for work, so I know that I only need to be there 45 minutes ahead of time, and I can get my Starbucks and can board the plane. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's the Southwest Prime, right?
You can't park for 24 hours
Oh,
for $5 or $8 at the airport. So, and then you do your ride on the way back on demand. So as soon as I land, I call, and that's the part that gives me a little bit of anxiety. But worst case scenario, I
Call when
catch
you
an
land.
Uber or a Lyft on the way back, and I probably will still come out on top.
We had our granddaughter take us there and pick us up after midnight, actually.
Ooh, I don't think.
I bet they don't do that.
No, I think it's like 7 in the morning until 6 p.m. It's kind of,
Yeah, more normal business hours.
and I don't know that it's on Sundays, but
Gotcha.
if you can make it work.
Interesting.
I would just like to say kudos to staff for the last meeting that we had. The minutes were excellent.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Very good reading material.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of an update on that if you don't mind.
Oh, that'd be perfect. I was going
Yeah,
to
go
ask for
ahead.
that.
Go ahead, Erin.
Thank you. So my communication tonight is related to Brookview, the project we reviewed at our last meeting. We had a ton of public participation, which was great, and I think led to a better product going through the planning process. City Council, the 21st, Monday, they'll be reviewing the rezoning to R2 PRD or R2 Planned Residential Development and the preliminary plat. So continuing to move the project forward. There was a lot of feedback from the Planning Commission about if there was a possibility to reduce the number of lots and then increase some of the buffering. So I just want to talk through a couple of the changes that we've made. So I know that you got an email with this mailer, so you've seen this information before, but just want to talk through some of it. So this one, and then I highlighted the changes. So overall lot reduction from 24 to 22, so that's the biggest circle. Density hits now 3.5 instead of 3.8, so still within that 3 to 5 for us, which is important. Outlot C, so Brookview Court is the street that runs east-west, so this one here. And there's a request by property owners and the Planning Commission to think through buffering of Outlot C, which is the area between the street and the rear property lines of Green Ash Drive. We were able to shift the street about 7 feet south, so increasing that buffer to 32 feet. And with that space, we're able to add a 3 to 5 foot berm throughout that corridor, along with plantings. So adding some topography in that area with trees on top to give a visual buffer. And then the third biggest change is reworking the area east of Mulberry. So at one point, it was a separate basin and a pond. We've been able to combine the two with an infiltration bench, which has removed the need for the public services maintenance to be a full street between the two, so making it a less intrusive user back there. So in general, again, I think came out a better product based on feedback we got from residents and the Planning Commission. So overall, really excited to take that information and actually be able to make some changes to the project. So there's an example of the landscape berm. So the house there would be residents on Green Ash Drive, landscape berm, and then Brookview Court is where that car would be. And then the technical planning document, the plat, which is a little less fun to look at, but shows the same information that the colored picture did.
The trail will continue?
It will, yes. So we're still working through the location. I really think it's going to be field fit. So we'll get staff out there, see where it works the best to figure out the location that's least intrusive and most passable, because it's pretty steep in some spots.
Yeah, we walk on the Broadway there all the time, and definitely would like a new route. So that's definitely a good add for the project.
So again, goes back to City Council on Monday. So if anyone wants to tune in, you can join us on Zoom or watch on Granicus or join us in person.
I think I'm going to show up. Can't miss it. after the 3-hour meeting, I'm sure it gets through. Yeah.
Snow cones?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe just have a quick, I mean, I think, yeah, I just credit the compliant staff on, it looks like a great job here getting the developer and the resident comments balanced. I think, you know, I think the big thing that for me is taking a few houses off of Brookview Court and actually shifting those to Mulberry so that there's even less traffic going that way. I think they had 2 or 3 more houses kind of packed in on that, you know, east-west side versus now it's north-south. So that
Correct.
hopefully, you know, alleviate some traffic for those residents' backyard and whatnot. I think the landscaping berm is a very good improvement, and Aaron's magic with the water, getting that, I think that's another great improvement, right? Just free up some area there. I think you guys did a fantastic job.
So that sparked one more thing to mention.
Go
So
ahead.
the PRD request that you reviewed at your last meeting was for 5,500 feet for square footage for the lots. With the reduction of those 2 lots and flipping the 2 to Mulberry from Brookview, the request is now 6,400 square feet. So the minimum lot size has been increased by roughly 1,000 square feet.
Oh, that's good news too. Excellent. Yeah, anyone else have comments?
Good job.
Yeah, good. Yes, again, thank you for all your hard work.
That is what I've got for
All
communications.
right. Anyone else? Comments?
Just
Go
a
ahead.
quick mention.
Yes, absolutely. Go
April
ahead.
9th is the Easter egg hunt, Lions Easter egg hunt at
Community Park. Yeah, it's fun. Took my daughter there last time we had it. 2 years ago.
I believe
that?
it starts at 10.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's done about 10:05.
Yeah, 10:05. Yes. Yeah. The kids find, 10, maybe 10:04, depending on the age. They have it separated by age, so you don't have to worry about the little kids and the big kids fighting. But
I hope the lovely weather continues
Yeah,
for
it'd
you.
be nice for,
Yeah.
yeah, the weather's good. Anyone other comments?
Any other upcoming projects?
Yeah, I think we have another meeting. Oh, go ahead. I actually had one.
Yes, so that really just took me a second to figure out. So the preserve, which you all last reviewed in October for preliminary plat, the project directly west of Meridian Fields,
yep.
Brandel Anderson,
That one.
is coming back. They're in for final plat right now. So I don't have a date slated for that meeting yet, but they had quite the go with the watershed district, making sure their site worked. But they worked through the issues, so they're back for final plat. Timber Creek Phase 2 came in fast and furious. Didn't expect that one for a while. So again, that one's in for final plat. I think it's 66 lots. So of the 350-ish, it's 349. I would say roughly half of the project will be through the final plat process in the next couple of months, which will be good. What else are we working on?
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Well, we have a lot of city projects that are in the works too.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
A lot of our city projects are wrapping up the plans and specs right now. So we'll be bringing 6th Street to the city council on Monday night. So that's a really big project. Then looking forward to our street maintenance project coming up, and obviously Ironwood Park. So that's a lot of good things going on in the city right now.
Yeah, I happened to watch one about a bridge too, the
Mhm,
4th
the
Street
Third
Bridge.
Street Bridge.
I was
Yep.
flipping through that.
Fourth Street or Third Street?
Oh, Third Street, yes, I'm sorry, Third Street.
Yep.
I have a question about.
Go ahead, Cindy.
About the water treatment plant.
Oh.
When is that project wrapping up?
May?
Seriously? Because it seems like it's been going on for 5 years.
It's a big project.
Yeah.
Big project.
Yeah, the new plant should be online
Okay.
here by May.
Yeah.
By May?
Yep. So the new treatment plant capacity should be operational online here early this spring. So all the water main piping and stuff is obviously already in place, but just obviously working on the internals of the plant right now. Additionally, looking to drill well 6 here in this summer. So that's the last well we'll be drilling here for a while, hopefully. So.
Yeah, did we have an estimate on
Don't hold your breath.
how long we think that's gonna last us? Is that through the 2040 plan or?
No.
God.
Not that far, okay.
I think that's hoping to get us through 27 or 28.
Oh, okay. So.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how things go.
5 or 6 years
Yeah.
from now.
Yeah.
So about the time it finishes, you start building the next one?
Treatment plant a lot longer than I was talking about the wells. So.
Oh, the well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And then JCP, I think, will start to take some shape with monumentation wrapping up this
Oh, sure.
spring. So the big columns that you see at the roundabout will be lit, which I think will be really lovely. And then getting some of the landscaping to take, I think, will make a pretty dramatic
Yeah.
difference on that corridor too.
Yeah, that looks really nice. The
Yeah.
city and county did a great job on that too. It's right by our
I
house.
have, I have a question. I'm not sure anybody here can answer it.
Oof.
We were walking along the trail on the top of the levee, and there's a kiosk there for Fish and Wildlife. And it has a notice, it says no firearms. And my understanding was you could hunt on the Fish and Wildlife land.
I know the answer to this.
Oh,
Not
okay.
on a
Wow.
city limits.
Is that your question? When it changed?
Well, is that true? You can't hunt on the Fish and
So-
Wildlife land in the city limits?
My understanding is that they're going to bow and arrow only in that area. So you can hunt in that area, but not with firearms.
You've never been allowed to hunt in city limits, whether it was Fish and Wildlife property that was near, that's, even if it's Fish and Wildlife, it's still in the city limits.
That's not exactly true.
That was
You used
my
to-
understanding.
You were there. You used to be.
What
able
I
to
said
have to
went.
You used to have to get a permit from the city.
Oh, that's right, But without no, and it wasn't, that's right, it was a permit from the city. That's right, but I don't think we do that anymore. We don't issue, city doesn't issue permits so that you can use a firearm in the city for hunting.
Correct.
Sure, go ahead, Krista.
All right. Excellent. Anyone have any other? No? Then I guess we need a motion to adjourn. Anyone would like to?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you, Cindy.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Greg. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none. All right, we're adjourned.